What's going on, YouTube? We back once again, man. It's your boy, the Legend 5 with On Tour Media. And today, I got a special guest with me, man. So we're going to talk about some coaches' grades. We're going to talk about prediction of the next year's schedule with Colorado. And we're going to get into some other talks and conversation, man. All right? If it's your first time here, subscribe to the video, like the video, share the video, and comment below, man, and let me know what you guys think. So my special guest today, man, I'll call him Mark for right now. His name is Mark, but I'm not want to give up his last name unless you want to give up your last name.
No. We're going to keep it on the down low.
All right, so we got Mark tuning in today, man. Hey, it's going to be a lot of topic of conversation. So let's dive into it, all right? Subscribe, man. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Right here.
Subscribe.
The one and only. On Tour
Let's
Media.
get it. Hey, so as we all know, man, Deion Sanders came in with the coach's grade from On 3, and he got a B. Now, a lot of people are salty about that B. To me, I think it should be a B+, but, you know, I'm not going to be one of those guys to say he should have an A+. Nah, he deserves a B+. I think it's a gracious grade, looking at what he inherited when he came in with a 1-11 team. So now Colorado did go 4-8. We all know the struggles that they had, things of that nature. He's turning it around, man. He's turning this program around. But we have some other coaches on there, man, that you guys are not talking about while you guys are giving Coach Prime a hard time that had a lot worse record. I ain't going to say a lot worse. A couple games worse, right? But you guys are not talking about them like y'all talking about Coach Prime. So we're going to tune into it a little bit, man. So looking at the grade of Coach Prime, man, what do you think?
Man, I agree with you. I think Deion did a great job going in, dealing with what he had, coming from 1-11. Mm-hmm. B+, I agree with you. I think B+ is it. He brought his luggage, not me saying, that's Prime saying it. I'm bringing my luggage with me. He did his thing. Couple games, I think I talked to you before this, like there's 5 games that he should have won that were within a touchdown or less. Now, granted, a win's a win, no matter what, if it's by 1, by 2, however much it is, a win's a win. But eventually, Prime and the guys, Shador, Travis Hunter, all of them are going to figure out how to win when it's coming close to time. Just like the Green Bay Packers here just recently, man, just figuring out how to win in these close games, and those games matter. Going forward, I mean, looking at all the transfers he's got going in, I'm excited to see what Prime does next year, and considering they're making the move from the Pac-12 to the Big 10 or the Big 12, my apologies. And going forward, I think their schedule's going to fit them a lot better going into the Big 12 versus the Pac-12.
Definitely, man. And we all know, man, Coach Prime brought that energy. He brought the juice. He brought the exposure.
Oh, he changed everything. Culture, swag, the whole
everything.
Shador coming out with the watch celebration that a lot of people have sit there and embraced. As a football coach, I've noticed a lot of my kids wearing the shades and cowboy hats and thinking they're cool with pulling up their watch celebration and stuff like that. So it's just not in the college game that they're changing. They're changing the whole surrounding from college to youth league to 5-year-old kids, 4-year-old kids, high school kids. They're making their names for something like it's at the professional level, like it should be.
Facts, no doubt. So looking at some of these other grades, man, we all know, okay, it's been said Coach Prime has a B grade, all right? Now, we're going to look at some of these guys that are switching over with him to the Big 12, and we're going to talk a little bit about Scott Saterfield from Cincinnati. Scott from Cincinnati got a grade of a D. What's your thoughts about that?
I mean, man came from Louisville. Dude was trash at Louisville. Not producing anything. I know a lot of Louisville fans were not happy with him of what he produced, and transferring over to Cincinnati, I know a lot of Cincinnati fans were not happy with what he performed. When Cincinnati comes off of a year where they were in the college playoff, granted, you're not going to be as good. You're going to have a transition year. Everybody has that transition year. But Cincinnati did not have a transition year. I think it says, 3-9 in 2023?
Right.
That's correct. Trash, man. Trash. Absolute trash. I give him a D-.
D- for you, Scott. Sorry, baby. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I mean, On 3 gave you a D, man. We over here at On Tour Media, we giving you a D-, baby. Step it up next year.
And I hope you come in with your recruits and you do better. Less of a what's the word I'm looking for? You're not expected to win like you were at Louisville. The fans at Louisville love you. Cincinnati, it's like, unless you're Travis Kelce or Jason Kelce. I mean, nobody really cares about Cincinnati.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
right? And we got the tight end from Cincinnati coming to Colorado, man.
Oof.
Yeah, big boy. Big 6'5".
And you got to play him again later in the season because Cincinnati made the jump to the Big 12 in the 23 season with all this whole, everybody jumping conference and, Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, the Pac-12 not being a thing anymore. Majority of the Pac-12 is going to the Big 12 or the Big 10 or all the way over to the ACC. The Pac-12, as we know it, Washington going into Monday's game is the last Pac-12 team standing. So do you think going off track here, do you think Pac-12 and with Washington going into the national championship game Monday against Michigan, do you think that they can, live, okay, the Pac-12 deserves to stay, we're going to win the national championship? Do you think they can pull it off?
I think so. I think the Pac-12 can, but this is the strongest I've ever seen the Pac-12, man.
And it just crumbled in front of our eyes like nothing. And it was all based off of TV media, is what it was.
That's it. And, I mean, the show that the Pac-12 put on this year, man.
I mean, USC with Caleb Williams, who's probably going to be the number 1 draft pick. Oregon with Bo Nixon, who's also in question of being a number 1 draft pick. Utah's quarterback got hurt, so they weren't as good, but they're still a good team. Mm-hmm. You got Deion and what he did with his 4-8 team. Mm-hmm. I mean, Pac-12 is just growing, and it just crumbled, man.
So Deion brought up this, man. I want to ask you about this, and I know we're off topic real quick, but it just sparked my memory. Florida State, as we all know, went undefeated, and they were left out of the playoffs.
Yep.
If Colorado was in that same predicament and went undefeated, do you feel like the media world, with all the reviews and the ratings and the money that Colorado has brought in, would they have been left out of the playoffs?
No, I don't think so.
Me either.
I don't think so. I think the hype of Deion and Shador and Shiloh and Travis Hunter, everybody wants to see that. That's now CTV. Mm-hmm. That's like a reality TV show, man. Like everybody's hoping for their downfall, but at the same time, they want to see Prime and them do what he does, what he did at Jackson State, and that the fact that Florida State passed him up a couple years ago, and that's his alma mater, man. And and talking about Florida State got 63-3 against Georgia.
They did.
You could say they didn't play anybody or play everybody.
They play starters, yeah.
But you had your chance to defeat the 2-time reigning national champion, and you could have said you were a national champion.
Agreed. Yeah, so it's kind of funny how the ball rolls, man. But I agree. I don't think they would have been left out. Which brings me to another thing. Alabama every year finds their way, no matter whether they have 1 loss or 2 losses, to continuously get into that playoff conversation. And then they end up winning, and they end up finding their way into a national championship, or eventually a team will knock them off by the hairs.
Right, just like happened on New Year's. Alabama played terrible that game, man. Shitty snaps.
Yep.
Not having the right shoes for the grass, slipping, all that stuff, and they still only lost by a touchdown to Michigan in overtime.
Yeah, but should have Alabama even been in that playoff topic? Should it have been Florida State?
So Curb Street, Pat McAfee, and all of them, they talk about it, is based on of if there was something, if it would have affected them during the season, like if Florida State's quarterback would have got hurt week 1, mm-hmm. Florida State does not go undefeated. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't think they go undefeated. So my picks would have been Michigan, mm-hmm. Washington, I keep Alabama in there, and then Texas or Georgia. I think Georgia should have got it over Alabama. Going 2-time reigning champion, and your only losses in the SEC championship. I mean, come on, man. But next year we get to go to a 12 college playoff.
That's gonna be interesting.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
just watching.
That's gonna be interesting.
And if you don't make it into 12, that's your fault. They bumped it up to 12. and you play your best to get to the national championship. And it's going to be like that 7-game series with the finals or NBA playoffs or college or like the March Madness or the NFL, where it's just competitive. That number 12 guy might be better than the 1, and they might mess around and get it. The underdog shines in bigger lights, man.
Definitely. All right, looking at some of these other coaches' grades, man. We got Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State with a C+. What are your thoughts about Kenny Dillingham?
I don't know much about Arizona State or Dillingham, but C+, I seem that's pretty accurate, going 3-9. I don't know what their record was in 22. It might have been the same, so he didn't progress, he didn't get worse or anything like that. But next year, he's got to go bowl eligible if he wants to keep his job. But Dillingham, I give him a C+. Going 3-9 this year. The year before they went through better. He just kind of stayed the same. Like, not everything happens overnight. Like, everybody expected, going back on Prime, everybody expected Prime to come out and go undefeated in his first year. No, that's not how it works. You go better. You got to win as many games as you can. But as long as you top or win the same amount of games that you did the previous year, to me, that's growing. As long as you don't, degress, going forward. Now, next year, Dillingham's going to have to win 6 games to get a bowl. I do say that.
Yeah. And they just picked up a transfer, former 5-star player that was at Oregon, defensive back, 5'10", 180-pound Cole Martin.
That sounds like it's going to help out their defense. It's going to help out their defense tremendously. Experience coming in, knowing how college game is already played, and so he's already bringing over a lot of experience to the table, probably leadership. That's going to help the defense out tremendously.
All right, dude, we got Hugh Freeze from Auburn. Hugh Freeze was rated a C. Hugh Freeze, he had an all right season, I guess. I mean, he got some transfers in there this year. What are your thoughts about Hugh Freeze?
Freeze, man, I give him a C+. The SEC is the toughest conference in the nation. Don't quote me on this, but I think he got a bowl this year in his first year. And you get a bowl in your first year, that's big news. He took Alabama to the wire in that big rivalry game, to where it came down to the last play where Milroe threw it in the back of the corner for a touchdown. So I give him a C+ just for sticking toe-to-toe against Alabama in the last game of the season and then getting a bowl. And I think they actually won the bowl game. Don't get me wrong. I think they did.
So they were under 500 for the 3rd straight season in a row. But Hugh Freeze is new, turning his program around. I think he would definitely bring them back on the up and up.
And like I said, you're going toe-to-toe with Alabama. Futures are bright there in Auburn.
So we got Brown, Jeff Brown from Louisville, B+ grading. What's your thoughts about Jeff?
As a Kentucky fan, man, I hate to say it. Louisville's own from Trinity High School, went and played at U of L, went to Purdue, coached there for a little bit, and waited for the right time to come home to fix the mess that Satterfield made, dude. Louisville's own, like I said, I give him a B+ to what he did in the ACC. ACC's trash, the weakest conference there is. Clemson had an off year. Florida State had their year. Injuries propelled them to go to the college football playoff. I give him a B+, but if you want to be the best in the state of Kentucky, you got to learn how to beat Kentucky.
Definitely. Battle of the Bluegrass. All right.
Mississippi State.
We got Mississippi State, Zach Arnett, D-. The Bulldogs' first-year head coach lasted just a single season in Starkville before he got axed after going 5-7 in the SEC. So he inherited a job under fortunate circumstances. And then once he got done doing that, he decided to go ahead and pivot away from the program. I don't really know what to say about Zach Arnett. Like, I didn't really follow Mississippi State a lot this year. There's somebody that doesn't interest me. They never have interested me. They even pay attention to them. But hopefully he can turn the program around, man. I wish nothing but success for all these first year coaches at these new schools. But do you have much to say about Zach?
I've watched him a little bit. Unfortunate circumstance with Mike Leach, RIP to one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game, man.
Definitely.
He inherited the team based off of, the passing of Coach Leach. He got fired after his first year. I think Mississippi State's looking to hire somebody else. They just didn't like what he performed, and offensively, you come in thinking that's a passing offense and then run the football. That's not what the people want. Everybody wants to see everybody throwing the football now instead of running the football, unfortunately. But, unfortunately, he got fired. I think he got fired on his first year. So we'll see if he gets picked up from another team or going for it. I think D- is, he missed a bowl game by 1 or 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at Nebraska's Matt Rule. C+. He was graded. What are your thoughts on Matt Rule?
I think it's a good grade considering the way Nebraska is. Nebraska is one of those big Midwest teams, man, that there's a lot of history behind Nebraska. Coming in with those circumstances, win you a couple games, C+. And he's also quoted saying that a transfer quarterback in the transfer portal costs $1 to $2 million in NIL money. So can he afford a $1 to $2 million quarterback going forward in the 24-25 season to get him a couple more wins? He's got to play Colorado again. He can't sit there and drop those games when, to a lot of people, Colorado was a winnable game this year. But that's around the time Travis Hunter got hurt. Colorado ended up beating them. So can he make it a closer game next year? Looking at the schedule, can he make Prime nervous going up throughout the game? That's got to be his standard. I won so many games. No matter if I win one more than what I did last year, that's progress. I got to sit there and keep getting better. It doesn't happen overnight, guys. It just keeps building until you get to the point where you're like Nick Saban and you're always in the college football playoff or in the national championship because you've built your greatness.
Facts. All right, and then while looking at that, Matt Rule set on the predicted 2024 schedule, predicted to play Colorado September 7th of next year. Week two. So that's going to be a game to lock in on and see if Nebraska can rebound.
At Nebraska, too.
Is that, yeah, at Nebraska.
That's a whole different ballgame.
So we see if Nebraska can bounce back. I doubt it. But
Prime's probably
it ain't gonna happen, man.
You heard it here first. Prime's going 8-0 right off the rip in the Big 12.
See, and y'all look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. I bring on somebody else and they say now what y'all gotta say. I'm just saying, man. And he's not even a Colorado fan.
Nah, I'm L's down, UK, baby, Wildcats all the way.
You see what I'm saying?
But I do love my boy Prime up there. He's doing great things. He did great things at Jackson State. He's just great. He's great in the league, great in baseball. He's great at everything he does.
Greatness.
And his sons are great too. Shador's going to be the number 1 draft pick next year. And I'm calling probably right now, he's probably going to go to, just off the top of my head, just probably Arizona. I'm saying Arizona. I think they give Kyler Murray one more year up there in Arizona, and if he doesn't produce, guess what? Shador's going to Arizona with big endorsement deals out there in Arizona. He's going to love it. Everybody wants to see him in that blue and gray like his dad. I just don't see it happen. I think Dallas is on a roll right now, and they won't get a low enough draft pick to draft Shador. So
definitely, he's definitely not gonna be there for Dallas to take unless Dallas does some crazy trades and gets all the way to those top spots, man. But I don't see
Chicago. Depending on how they take a draft, getting in that number 1 draft pick from the Carolina Panthers. Do they take Caleb Williams or do they see what Justin Fields can do one more year? And then do they tank and does he go to Chicago? Does Chicago get two or three draft picks in a row where they are the number 1 draft pick? Now, granted, they traded Carolina to where they picked up Bryce Young. I don't know. I'm saying you can see Shador in the Arizona Cardinals uniform in the next couple of years.
All right, we'll see, man. Well, hey, if that happens, we're going to rewind this tape back.
Yeah,
and
you heard it here first.
We're going to put it on him, man, and give him his props, man. He's seeing the future, all right? Let's see what it is. All right.
But like we said, talking about Colorado's schedule here, and you start off the year with North Dakota State. I mean, who is North Dakota State, man?
Shit, I don't know. Last I checked, they nobody.
Nobody
knows.
So say it with me. That's an easy dub.
Dub.
All
right.
Nebraska. Dub.
What we got next?
Colorado State. You know, that was a tough game last year. You know, came down to the wire. I mean, just throwing a shallow. That defense is going to tighten up. The O-line's tightened up with, you know, the transfer portal and the top guard or tackle in the nation coming to Colorado. Dub. Arizona. You know, Arizona was a close game for Colorado this year. You know, you got to win those football games. They've learned. They're experienced now, so guess what? Dub. So now we're 4-0 going into Utah.
Look, he's saying it, y'all. I ain't even saying it. Look, we ain't prepped for this. Nothing. This is off the top of the head.
This is part of knowing the game, knowing what Prime does and everything like that. He made the jump.
I'm sitting over here like a proud member of the staff, man. I'm just saying, man.
Like, you got to think, like we were talking about this beforehand. The Pac-12 was at its top this year. Unfortunately, it's done after this year.
Yeah.
I mean, with Washington going to the national championship, Oregon, you got USC, and then everybody else who was good in the Pac-12 this year are moving. He's going to the Big 12, where Texas and Oklahoma are going to the SEC. I don't want to say the Big 12 is a weak conference, but it's not as strong as the Pac-12. So going forward, looking at the teams, he's going to win majority of the games in the Big 12 because they play West Coast football, and West Coast football is not as good as that little tie tier right there by Oklahoma and all them, where they like to play fast and be bigger than you.
You got to think, Colorado is not Colorado. Coach Prime has brought in players from Florida, from Texas, so you're not getting all those same players that they faced previously from that grid of the recruiting area that they used to have. Yeah. It's a whole new dynamic of players.
Yeah, Prime's still trying to get it his way, trying to find the best players as he can. It's just like the whole Kentucky basketball 30 for 30, one and done. He's going to go get those guys that have those couple years left and send them to the league where they belong.
Definitely.
So he's hit the transfer portal. I think we said it was a B. What we saw earlier, that he had a B.
Right now he's ranked number two in the country. I can't remember who was number one.
Ole Miss.
Right behind Ole Miss. And it's still early, guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is still early.
Right.
So
there's still a signing day coming up in February.
Yes.
For those later ones that don't know what they're doing or they played another sport. So I'm excited to see if he can turn another Travis Hunter that was supposed to be going to Georgia when he was at Jackson State, but decided to go to Jackson State and fall into Colorado, man. You know, there's still a lot of top prospects out there that still have not made a commitment. I mean, you got the Under Armour All-American, you got the Army All-American coming up here soon, so I'm excited to see what he gets.
Definitely. What we got next on the schedule?
Baylor. I mean, Baylor's typically good in basketball, not football, so dub. So
last time Baylor was good in football, man, was RG3 or
RG3, man. I mean, RG3.
That I can remember.
RG3 is Baylor football. He's the history of Baylor football.
That's it. When you think of Baylor, you think of RG3.
Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's tough. You know, I think that's going to be a toss-up game, but it's in Colorado, so I give that to Colorado Buffaloes. So now we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 0. Going into Kansas State. I think Kansas State is their toughest going into the schedule. Coming off of a year where they were talks for the college football playoff 2 years prior, and then doing what they did this year. I still think Prime beats Kansas State. So we are 8-0. Then you go to Cincinnati Bearcats, where Saterfield is trash, does not know how to coach, does not know how to coach at Louisville. He needs to go back to App State. He needs a smaller school. Beats them. Now we're 9-0. Kansas had a great year. They're not just a basketball school now. They are a football school like Kentucky. football and basketball rule Kentucky and Kansas now, okay? I still think he beats Kansas. 10-0. Texas Tech. Texas Tech who? Patrick Mahomes ain't playing for him no more. 11-0. Now we're going into USC. Yeah. 12-0 playing for the national championship.
Definitely. You got UCF, man. What's UCF going to do with Colorado?
Nothing.
Nothing.
A couple years ago, they tried saying that they were better in Bama. Come on now. On now. Let's be realistic here. 12-0, I'm saying it right now. He is going to be in the mix for the 12th playoff team contender as we kick this off in 2024 season. I'm saying it here right now. Prime's going 12-0, and he's going to win a national championship.
You heard it. Coach Mark.
As Shador exits to go to the NFL.
What do you think about the Heisman?
I think Shador wins it.
You think he wins it? He's definitely in the top 3.
Going into 24, looking at what's returning, I think he is the number 1 runner for Heisman. Now, if Archie Manning plays in Texas, if they give him a shot, you got to respect the Manning name, man.
Yeah.
Just like you got to respect the Sanders name. That Manning and Sanders name was built from nothing, and now it's probably two of the greatest names of all time.
You heard it here first, man. Colorado Buffs slated to go undefeated. Coach Mark said it here first, man, on Tour Media. It's your boy, the Legend 5. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. We got to do this again, man, because this is a great conversation. We got to come up with a name for our own little segment of our show, man. Yeah. Maybe we call the Shade Boys. I don't know, man, because, we rocking the shades, man. Coach Prime shades, courtesy of Blenders right here, man. My boy rocking the Ray-Bans, man. You peep the hat, man.
Yeah.
Shouts out to my boy Bam on the hat, man. Hey, if you guys ain't got the merch, man, go cop the merch, the Shador merch. You already know what it is, man.
See it, man.
Young Kings.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
Yeah.